Thank you for tuning in. This is part three of the New Life in Christ message I'm doing. So, when I was younger, I had these two dreams. The first dream I had was Jesus was in the backyard of my house and I was playing in the mud and he was telling me, "Hey, you should follow me." And then a few days later, I had another dream that all these people were trying to get me. And I see this row of crosses that just went on forever. And in the middle of the crosses, I see Jesus hanging. He was dying on the cross. And I went up to him and I said, "Jesus, why are they trying to get me?" And Jesus told me, he said, "If you follow me, everyone's going to hate you and they're going to want to put you on the cross with me to die." Let's talk about a introduction to follow Jesus. I was like 5, 6, 7 years old when I had those dreams, and I didn't even know what the Bible taught. I went to church, but I didn't really understand what any of it meant. And then I had these dreams that were very biblical, almost like if I read the Bible and I just kind of had a dream of what I read, but I did not read the Bible and I did not understand what the Bible said. So I'm convinced that Jesus came to me in a dream twice to call me to him. And then if you watch part one and two, you know that I was living a crazy life and I stood before a judge and I just became an atheist and didn't believe in God. In the middle of all of it, of in the middle of living that crazy life and choosing not to go to church anymore and being an atheist and or an agnostic, and God continued to put Christians in front of me. He continued to put Christians in front of me, from teachers at the church or teachers at the school who were Christians, and there was just something different about them, and I wanted what they had, and I talked about this in previous videos. But in middle school, when I stopped going to church, something crazy happened. My pastor, who when I was 8 years old, I originally said the sinner's prayer and got baptized. But I mean, obviously, I wasn't living the Christian life and I actually rejected God. That same pastor was a bus driver for the school district. And every single day after school in sixth, seventh, and eighth grade, I would go and have like a 5-minute conversation with him about school. And I was also reading the Bible, and because there was a interesting book, and even though I didn't believe in God, I was interested in reading the Bible, so I would tell him all the time, "Oh, I'm reading this. I got to this point of the Bible, or I finished reading Genesis, or I finished reading First Kings." And this pastor went out of his way and bought me my own personal Bible with my name on it, and a bunch of other books, study books, like study material for the Bible, because he saw the interest I had, and so he went out of his way and got me all this different books. But God put that guy right there when I was in middle school, when I did not go to church no more. I just stopped going to church. The pastor was a bus driver for the middle school that I went to. The chances of that is God divine. It had to be God divine. Of all the different schools that he could have been at, he was at the school that I was at. God put him there. God continued to put Christians in front of me when I was not trying to seek him. Fast forward, get back to, now I'm I accepted Christ. I'm a manager at Walmart. I'm about to join the Marine Corps. I joined the Marine Corps. I see a revival take place. All these cool things. When I came home from the Marine Corps, I was still homeless. Ended up somehow I got me a place to live, and I was doing Uber, and I ended up getting in a car wreck, and and my I was messing around with insurance back then, where I would only have partial coverage insurance. So this one particular car wreck, it did not destroy my car completely, but I couldn't do Uber no more, so I had to go look for a new job. And I found a management position with a local Walmart. So I took the management position, and I was only there for about 6 months because this one particular Walmart, the store manager, kept on harassing me about being military. He just kept on harassing me, and I just got tired of it. He kept telling me to stop being so military. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just a private. I'm just a private first class. Like, I, j- I'm I'm just brand new to the military. How you want me to stop being military? Like, this is who I am now. I got tired of being harassed, so I quit that job and I signed up for Lyft, and I started doing Lyft, even though the front of my car was like smashed in. Well, I got tired of living in Dallas, Texas, so took a job out east in East Texas, Longview, and I was there for like a month, and um, and then I came back home or back to Texas because I could make more money in Texas, and I was struggling to find a place to live. But this struggle to find a place to live thing, right? It was a difficult thing for me to do is because of my credit and I messed up my finances. And even after the Marine Corps, even with the Marine Corps status on my background, I still couldn't get me a place to live. So I literally was a homeless, like, Marine vet. I was like currently serving in the Marines, working a full-time job, and sleeping in my car. Talking about slap to my face. Um, but in the midst of all of it, I just continued to trust God. In the midst of all the uncertainty and all the wondering, like, why all this has happened, and I just continued to trust God. Ended up getting in a car wreck that I got hurt real bad, and it totaled my car, completely totaled my car, and it entered me into a 3-year lawsuit. So pretty much with the car wreck, what happened was one night I was done doing Uber. I went to the gas station, got me some gas, and then I got back onto the highway or the street or whatever. And I was turning. I was making a left-hand turn, and somebody ran the red light, hit me head on, going 40 miles an hour. I had the green arrow to keep on going. I was on my way to the church. I was gonna go park outside the church and go sleep. And this car just hit me head on, destroyed my car and my back. I found myself living at my mom's house again. Cops dropped me off at my mom's house, told my mom what happened. A few weeks passed by. My mom helped me get another car, and then when I got the new car, I signed back up for Uber. and I just started doing Uber again, and I started doing it differently. Around that time period, I realized I don't want to do Uber anymore because I've been in two major car wrecks so far doing Uber in like a 2 year period. So it's like every year I get in a car wreck. I was like, I don't want this kind of lifestyle where I get in a car wreck every year and have to get a new vehicle. It's such a stressful experience to go through because banks don't want to finance an Uber driver. And so you have to come up with creative ways to tell a bank I got money. And my way I did it was, here's I work for myself, here's my bank statements. And the bank would look at my bank statements and it showed that I was making $8,000 a month. And they're like, yeah, you're approved for a car loan. Now I was making $8,000 a month, but I was paying for the insurance and gas and car payment and maintenance on the vehicle. So I was coming back out with a normal like 4,000 a month back in my pocket. And then Uber charges you fees. And so I was on paper, I was making good money. In reality, I was just making like everyone else makes $4,000 a month. Um, so I knew somebody that sold life insurance, and I reached out to him. I said, "Hey, I want to get my life insurance license, and I don't want to do Uber no more. I just want to sell life insurance and do that career choice because I was going to do that before I joined the Marine Corps, but I could never learn any of it, and none of it made sense. So we met up, and he told me, yeah, if you want to do this, you need to be 100% committed. And he helped me. This dude helped me get my life insurance license. I was a licensed life insurance agent in the state of Texas. One day we met up, he was showing me some stuff, and he said, Keith, you're going to be helping people with their finances. And I said, me, I'm not gonna help nobody with their finances. I'm over here. I live in my car. I'm paycheck to paycheck. I don't know what I'm doing with my own finances, and you think I'm gonna help other people with their finances? And he said, you live in your car? Yeah, I live in my car. I've been homeless for like 5 years. And he said, wait a minute. You serve in the Marine Corps. You work a full-time job. You make all this money and you living in your car? It's like, yeah, I don't know what else to do. I screwed my finances up when I was younger. And he said, meet me at the office on Monday and we're gonna fix your finances. Okay. So I met him at the office and I had my suit and a tie and everything and he's like he gave me his his paper. It was a financial needs analysis. He said just fill this out and then the computer is going to do what the computer does. So I filled out the financial needs analysis. He put it into the computer, and then it gave like a packet of information. And he was telling me like, see, you need $3 million saved up for retirement, and you need this, and this is how you pay off your debt, and this debt right here. Don't worry about this. Just let it fall off your credit and then this is how you're gonna get a place to live. And after he helped me set up a budget, a week later, I had a place to live for the first time in a long time. Remember, I lost everything when I was 19. Got evicted, got sued. When I'm 25 years old, I get my life insurance license. This guy tells me that, hey, you're going to help people with their finances. And then that's when I tell him, hey, my finances are ruined. I'm not going to help nobody. And then he helped me with my finances. And then I got me a place to live, 25 years old. Once I got a place to live, I started trying to sell life insurance policies, and I could never do it because you have to sit there and convince someone that they're a bad person if they don't get a life insurance policy and protect their families. And I don't have a heart to be right there and try to guilt trip somebody to sign up for a policy. So I could never sell the life insurance. But I wanted to learn more about finances, and since this company got me my life insurance license, they also offered classes and opportunity to get your license to sell finances, financial instruments, and be a financial advisor pretty much, and help people with their finances. So I started taking the classes to uh, to become a financial advisor, and I ended up passing the Securities Essentials exam, or the securities the SEI, the Securities Essentials Securities yeah, the Securities Essentials exam, the SEI. No, I forgot what it means, but the SEI is the first test that you have to take in order for a financial company to sponsor you. And so I took this test, I passed the test, got like an 85 or something. And I had to take it twice because I failed the first time. So I took it twice and then passed the second time. It was a difficult test, but it's easy once you study it the second time. So I passed that test, and around that time period when I'm trying to become a financial advisor, I had a dream. I had a dream that I saw the whole state of Wisconsin, and I woke up and I didn't know. I knew I saw a state. I didn't know what state, so I looked at a map and I found out, okay, I saw the whole state of Wisconsin in a dream. So after I had that dream, I was still doing Uber at the time for an income, and my Uber riders, my passengers for Uber, they were all telling me, you should go Wisconsin, do Uber in Wisconsin, you should go Green Bay, go Madison, you're gonna love it in Madison, Wisconsin. And they were telling me, I kept on getting told by people, go Wisconsin. And so I started praying about it. God, do you want me to go Wisconsin? Do you want me to go Wisconsin? And I was scared because the whole New Jersey thing, right? God told me to go to New Jersey, and I planned for years, and it just happened to be a 30-minute trip, a layover flight. And I was thinking, maybe it's the same thing. Maybe I'm just supposed to drive to Wisconsin and look around and tell one person about Jesus, and then I come back to Texas. So Wisconsin started getting put on my heart. I started praying about it. Around that same time period, I went and got me a new car because the car I had, it was it was fairly old, and it started having transmission problems, and the gears would come undone, so I would have to fix the gears and put them back in order, in back in shape or whatever you want to call it. There was a way you move the gears to put the gears back to in order without actually opening up the gear case. So you don't want a car with bad gears because you can really get hurt if that stuff stops working and you're driving on a highway. So I had to go get me a new car. So I went, got me a new car, and the Wisconsin thing was still on my mind. So I made plans. I made plans to go to Green Bay and Milwaukee and Madison. I was gonna go check out the big cities in Wisconsin. And I made the plans, and one day, a week after I made the plans, I made another left-hand turn. I need to stop making left-hand turns, but I made another left-hand turn. There was a truck, and it hit my car, and it hit my new car. My brand new car got hit, and around that same time period, Biden was president, and he passed all these different um, policies to keep all the parts on the boats on the ocean, and he was not allowing the parts to come into the United States as fast as they can. And so my car was being repaired, and it took like almost 2 to 3 months for that car to get repaired. But because I was managing my finances the right way, I had a savings built up, and so I was doing good. I was okay. I was fine. And I had a full coverage insurance that time, so I got me a loaner car and everything was good. I learned my lesson from the first time. Because the first time someone hit me going 40 miles an hour from behind me and I was stopped in traffic, I had I had the partial coverage insurance, and so the insurance company didn't cover it because the guy that hit me got back in his car and drove off. And so I learned my lesson about having full coverage insurance. Never again will I ever have partly covered insurance. I'm always going to have full coverage insurance on my vehicles because of that. I think there was like 1 out of 3 people in Texas don't have insurance. Uninsured motorists, you can get that on your insurance policy. It's a great thing to have. So in the middle of trying to become a financial advisor, the calling to go Wisconsin begins. And then I get in this car wreck and I'm waiting for my car to get fixed for months. And so I took the time to continue to study the financial stuff. Mm. And during that time period that I was waiting for my car to be fixed, that's when I really determined I'm going to go into the banking industry. I can't be doing Uber no more. I need to learn something that will make me an income that's not me driving my own personal vehicle for Uber. And so I started to study. I passed the I started taking the Series 6 and the Series 63 and Series 7 classes. And I started to take what I was learning and apply it. And so I would go and buy stocks, and I would go and buy bonds, and I would go and buy ETFs and EFTs, and I got involved in the crypto market. I was buying different cryptocurrencies and very if I can buy it, I would buy it. In my closet right now, I got gold, diamonds, silver, I got stocks, bonds, or I don't got bonds. I got stocks. I EFTs. NFTs, cryptocurrency. I have a bank account with gold inside of it. That the money just travels gold. I got certificates. So I take everything I learned and I just applied it to my finances. And it has been a huge blessing and a really great thing to learn. But this calling, right? By the time I got the car back, I had no more money saved up because I wasn't working. Get the car back, didn't have any more money saved up. I had to go back and start working again. And I I determined, you know what, if God really wanted me to go Wisconsin, then he would have made sure that my car didn't get hit by another truck. And I would have had that car so that I am able to get to Wisconsin and check out Milwaukee and Green Bay and Madison. But because now I had no more money saved up and I needed to get back to work, and the whole Wisconsin thing got put on the back burner, and I just started to pursue the financial industry. Around the same time period, I was still doing ministry, online ministry. My one of my groups that I created back in high school started to grow up to like 5,000 people. It was called Single Christians Community, or now it's called Single Christians Community. Everybody was asking me for, if we had an app for the ministry, and now we do have an app for it. It's not as good. I'm still working on fixing the app, and I'm learning how to code now so I can make that app even better than what it is. But this ministry, Single Christians Ministry, it was reaching people from all over the world, and so I created the Bible study called Finding Love around that same time period, and it's based on the book of Ruth, and I did that Bible study, and everyone in the group knew who I was, and I met someone. I met somebody in the group that I first we became friends, and then we really got to know each other. But I met this person a few months after making the decision. I guess God didn't call me to Wisconsin. Then I meet this woman that lived in North Wisconsin, and I fell in love with her. What's the chances, right? So I'm in the middle of trying to become a financial advisor in Texas. The whole Wisconsin thing is behind me. And then a woman steps into my life. And she's from North Wisconsin in a small little town called Phillips, Wisconsin. And I'm telling you, I prayed and said, God, if you send me to Wisconsin, don't send me to Phillips, Wisconsin. Please don't send me to Phillips, Wisconsin. And the reason for it is because I tried to move to the country before and it did not work out. I could not find a place to live. I could not find a good paying job. I was scared because I was convinced God's about to send me to a small town in Wisconsin. So this girl and we start talking, we're friends, and one day I mentioned to her, I said, you would make a really good wife. And then when I said that, she didn't even say nothing. She just started video calling me. she started video calling me on Facebook, and I didn't answer the video, and I told her, "Oh, I'm busy," and then she said, "Oh, it figures," and she seemed like she was upset. So I I think I video called her back or something, and we started talking by video call every single day. And before we knew it, we were dating. And this was in the same year that the calling began, that the car wreck happened, that I decided maybe God wasn't calling me to Wisconsin. And then in the same year, this woman steps into my life, and we start talking to each other by video call. I was making plans. That year, I wanted to go to Oregon and see my dad. I only seen my dad one time, and I wanted to go and try to go Oregon and see my dad. And so I was trying to make plans, and God was telling me, "Don't go Oregon for Christmas. Go to Wisconsin for Christmas." And I did not want to do that. In Texas, if it snows, all of Texas shuts down. You do not drive at all for no reason in Texas if it snows. And here God is telling me, "Hey, I want you to go to Wisconsin in the middle of winter, in the middle of a huge snowstorm." I did not want to do that. Definitely did not want to do that. And after God started telling me to do that, this this woman that I was talking to, she asked me, she's like, "Keith, can you come to Wisconsin for Christmas? Can you come here for Christmas? And we can meet each other and we can spend Christmas together." And and this was after God told me. So God would tell me something, and then the woman would tell me something that would confirm the same thing God told me. It was the weirdest thing. But I was just like, "Yes, I will." I was struggling to tell God yes, but then the woman asked me, and I was like, "Yes, I will. For you, I will." I should have said yes to God, but I mean, if I'm God was using this woman as a hook to bring me out to Wisconsin. So I come, spend 3 weeks with this woman in Wisconsin, and went to church with her. I spent morning, evening, night with his family. I ate breakfast, lunch, dinner, and they had a farm, so I helped them do, farm work with them and throw hay to the horses, all that kind of stuff, and got to know this woman. And the only thing I regret is her dad asked me if I would want to go and help him cut down trees. And I was so stuck on this woman that I wanted to be next to her. I should have gone with her dad to go cut down trees. That's the only thing I regret, because I think that I could have learned something valuable from that guy. And so I just, but also I'm an introvert, so I don't like being around people I don't know. And I didn't know any of these people. I didn't even know her, and I'm over here like spending 3 weeks with her and her family, and I'm just thinking to myself like, what is God doing? Why am I here? Like it was it was crazy. I can't explain it. I still can't comprehend any of it, but ended up leaving After New Year's, went back to Texas, and and then I think it was like 13 weeks. No, 7 weeks later, I get a phone call from a Dollar General in Phillips, Wisconsin, from the store manager, and I'm getting offered a job offer to be a hourly supervisor, and I couldn't believe it. I was getting a job offer in the same town that she lived in, so I took it. And then I said, well, I need some time so I can be able to move out there. And so within a few weeks, I moved to Wisconsin, took this job offer. So God. And then this family, they had a cabin on the side of their property, and they offered to let me stay there until I can figure out what's going on. And so I stayed there, and I pay her dad rent money, and God pretty much brought me out here. Got me a place to live, got me a job. He brought me out here, and then when I moved out here and everything was kind of said and done, then this woman that I was talking to for months and months, and I moved out here and everything seemed like it was all going good. One day she just said, I don't want to be with you. And the reason for it, I still remember her mom said I was just a stupid, poor city boy that would never make it in North Wisconsin. Told me I was a stupid, poor city boy. I remember my ex, the day we broke up, or a few days before we broke up, she kept making comments saying that my car payment and my student loan debt was a red flag, and my debts I have, I student loan debts and car payments a red flag in my. So I guess it's a red flag if I go to college and I have bills to pay. Mm. And the same person that she was 32 and still living with her mom and dad, and her mom and dad, they paid for her college 100%, and she had her own business, but her parents pretty much paid to make it where she can have her business without her pulling out loans to pay back the bank for having a business. So all the expenses for the businesses in the very beginning, her parents paid for the expenses so she can have her own company. So she had the gold spoon just stick it right there in her mouth. And her family was, they had 500 acres of land, but they were using food stamps, somehow going down to the food pantry and getting free food from the food pantry, and going to the government and getting food stamps and free health insurance and Medicare, and they were trying to get me to do that, but I told them I'm not doing that. I'm gonna go get me a job and work a job to put food on my own table and earn the money I have to, pay all my bills. I'm not gonna go take advantage of all the government assistance programs. And her dad said, well, we do that because, it's right there, so you might as well just reach out your hand and take it. It's right there, not it's right there for families that need it. It's right there for single mothers that have kids. It's not right there so that rich people can continue to stay rich. And so because of all that, and then they would judge me because I had my past when I was homeless. They would judge me because of my past and all my failures that I had in my past. They would judge me for it. And so the whole relationship just fell apart right after I came here. And I remember a few weeks before, whenever the relationship was falling apart, I was in their house and I was with my ex and we were still kind of dating. The relationship was really shaky. Her mom was crying in the kitchen and slamming the doors, and she went down and said, "Hey, mom, what's wrong?" And she said, "We have no more money. We don't know how we're gonna pay the land tax." And I didn't say nothing to them, but I was wondering in the back of my head, they judge me because I have debt, but they have no money and they have all this land, but they don't even know how they're gonna pay the land tax. And it really, I just kept it in the back of my head. A few weeks later, their house burned down, accidentally burned down, even though I was there. I saw what happened. I was there to help her dad fix the fence. He was showing me how to make wood to make the fence. And he was raking up all the leaves around the house, around the garage, and he told me to go across the street. And before I was facing the garage and the car, but he told me to go across the street behind the shelter building thing and make the fence post over there. And then he came over there like 40 minutes later. He looked at it. He's like, "Oh, you're doing good." And then he went back across the street. 10 minutes later, I hear a popping noise. Then I see him running with the water hose. And then within a few minutes, he calls my name, "Keith, come over here." So I come running, and the garage is on fire. And he's throwing water on the fire. And I was thinking to myself, isn't there something special about an electrical fire? Isn't there something special about an electrical fire? And I couldn't think of it at the time, but now I know. If you throw water on an electrical fire, it spreads. Well, my ex-girlfriend's dad was a firefighter for a living for 20 years. You would think he would know that, but he was throwing water on the electrical fire, and he was throwing water on the house before it was even on fire. And and now I'm thinking about it today, and I'm like, well, technically, the water will make it spread and make it worse. And then my ex-girlfriend, his daughter comes out. She was gonna get the car out of the shed, but she said that the the middle of the car was on fire already before she can even get there. I'm convinced. I'm 100% convinced that my ex's dad set the car on fire or something. He set something on fire and he caused it all to burn down. That's why he was raking up the leaves beforehand because it will control the fire from spreading. And he would know that because his job as a firefighter was to control wildfires. So somebody that does that for a living would know how to do stuff like that. They especially would know not to throw water on an electrical fire. I don't care how stressed out you are, you would definitely know not to throw water on an electrical fire. So I'm 100% convinced they ran out of money. They didn't know what to do, and so he made his plan. And I pray every day that if that is true, that God will bring about judgment against him and his family because they steal from the poor and fraud the insurance company to keep themselves enriched. And they judged me because I was poor. They told me I was a stupid city boy, that I would never amount to anything. Ultimately, I got away from that family. When I looked at everything, I looked at all the pieces, all the different issues going on. I packed my bags and I left. I went to Texas. And I went through a season of my life that I couldn't do it no more. Gave up. Went back to Texas. God called me right back to Wisconsin, put me right back in Phillips, Wisconsin. And within a year, my boss for the new company I was working for asked me to come over, help him cut down some trees. He said that some people from his church are gonna come, and and apparently he knew my ex-girlfriend's dad because he showed up to my boss's house and he couldn't believe he saw me. It was crazy. And fast forward, I'm here. I'm in Wisconsin. I'm in Phillips, Wisconsin. I've been here for about 2 years now. And God has blessed me. God has blessed me with a place to live. He's restoring my credit. He's restoring my finances. He's restoring my relationships with people. You know, 6 months ago, my ex-girlfriend and her family, they tried to come back into my life. And I pretty much told my ex, I said, hey, you made your decision 2 years ago. And I told her, I believe your dad set the house on fire for insurance money. And she blocked me immediately when I said that. And since I've been here, I rebuked 3 pastors so far, and 2 of them are gone. One got fired, or one got removed, the other is stepping down, and the third one, I'm just praying that he repents. And when I look around North Wisconsin, I see a dying church. I see a dying church. I see worthless shepherds leading the flock. There was one church that they were preaching that the Holy Spirit was a woman and that it's okay to take out the pronouns from the Bible. There was another church that the pastor wasn't even preaching out of the Bible, he was preaching out of some random book. There was another church that said that he believed that the angels helped God create heaven and earth. All this heresy in North Wisconsin. Young people don't go to church no more up here. You only see people between the ages of 55 and up in church. There's some young people that still go to church, but it's like less than 1% of that population go to church up here. Churches are dying in North Wisconsin, and it's pretty sad. It breaks my heart. But it's dying because you have Christians who don't live the faith. You have Christians who are leaders of churches and they commit fraud and they go and do things that are not worthy of the calling. And so here I am saying, God, you sent me here to Wisconsin. I want to fulfill your will for my life in North Wisconsin. And I believe it's to reach this generation for Christ. And I feel like I'm on my own. And so if you want to support that mission with me, patreon.com/growyourfaith. The money will go towards reaching young people for Christ in Northwest Wisconsin by planting a church that intentionally reaches my generation. And I have a degree. I preach. I mean, here I am. I'll be the pastor of a church that preaches and reaches a dying generation. I'm here to serve God 100%. And man, my story, my testimony, the story is just beginning. God is restoring everything I have lost. The years the locusts have eaten, God is restoring everything. So, God bless you. Have a great day. And I'll see you in the next series.